Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffery Combs, 2 for Tuesday. Welcome, everyone. Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated Facebook Live with Jeffery Combs on Tuesday, September 27th. Welcome, everyone. My privilege and pleasure to be here with you on a very beautiful fall afternoon in Northern California. My name is Jeffery Combs. I've been hosting Facebook Lives from the inception of Facebook Live, so good to be here with you. And I've been hosting live conference calls for Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated since 1998. I am entering year number 25 soon. So welcome, everyone. Aaron, good to see you this afternoon. Bob Campbell. The topic for today's Facebook Live is selling the dream. Whether you're selling it to yourself or you're selling the good life to someone else, that is your responsibility to be able to paint the picture. I am going to let the Facebook Live populate, and then I will move into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. Jason Milo Andrus, good to see you this afternoon from Idaho, or that's where you were back in the day when I coached you. Good to connect with you here this afternoon. Jason, I was your coach 14 years ago, so good to have you here on today's Facebook Live. Dana, good to have you here this afternoon. The topic is selling the dream, meaning that you're able to sell yourself, your subconscious, unconscious, on living your dreams or being able to sell those dreams to others. So good to have everyone here this afternoon in California where I live. It is a very beautiful fall day. Now, it seldom rains where I live, and it stays warm year-round where I live. So a fall day is very similar to summer. My condolences to people who are experiencing the hurricanes in the Caribbean, Florida, and the East Coast. So blessings and prayers go out to those folks while we are here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, September 27th, Facebook Live with Jeffery Combs, selling the dream. So let's move right into the inspirational portion of today's Facebook Live. It's 3 minutes after the hour. The first situation you learn to do is you believe in your dream, that you are capable of living your dream. For those of you who do want to live in Florida, or do want to live in Costa Rica, or you want to move to Idaho, or you want to move to Texas, or wherever you want to move, and you have a dream house or a dream property, or you want to create the outcome that you seek to create, or you want to move to Wyoming or Montana, wherever the situation is, you want to live, or you want to buy a house, build a house, that is a dream, or you want to be able to have rental properties, Airbnb properties, passive residual income. These are dreams. Your dreams are yours, and they are personal. So when you personalize your dream, then you own it. And the more that you begin to own that dream, there's the dream of retirement. There's the dream of traveling the world. There's the dream of living the good life. And that is a lot like beauty. That is in the eye of the beholder. And that is for you to determine what your dream is. Dreams can change as relationships can change, as careers can change, and situations such as that. Scott Lucas, good to see you. TC and Matt Smith, always good to see you, Matt, on Facebook Live. Miss coaching you, Matt. So if that is you, and you are in this process of living your dream, then you require a vehicle. So if that's a job or a business or whatever that is, that's one of the ways that you have a vehicle for your dream. And your dream requires clarity and vision. So the vision is the outcome of what it is you're seeking to create by living your dream. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Ted Hannick, who I had the privilege of coaching earlier today, was here Friday visiting me on his way as he's crisscrossing the United States. He was on his way to Southern California, and he stopped off and had dinner with me. And he wanted to see the two houses, and the houses I own are both over 100 years old, and they've been rehabbed and restored, and some of it's back to its original state. Some of you have actually been in my property before. So the properties I lived in, they were absolute dreams. They were the house that I wanted to restore, take it back to its original state and landscape, build fences around it, build a steam room in that house, and bring some of the original woodwork back to its original beauty, have an office that I can create my dream from. I have a 3-level home. My main home has a full basement. Then it has 2 stories. It has 2 balconies, and it is a lot and a half, so it's a large property. It had a dilapidated garage when I moved onto it. I connected the garage to the house, and it's now a 3-car garage. And the floor is a polyurethane floor. It looks like it's perpetually waxed. I mean, this was all the vision of the outcome I saw before it ever happened. At one point, I owned a car collection. I'm a car person. I had a commercial property. I mean, these were all visions and dreams I had as a child, teenager, in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s. And so Jennifer says her dream is to have a beach house with palm trees. Well, that is the dream. That is, determine where that is. Determine what is the location. What is the cost of that? What is the city? Where is the beach? When will that be actualized? What is the vehicle that will allow you to create that dream? And so these are dreams. Dreams are visions, but dreams are real when they're manifested. And as you learn how to manifest your dreams, so that can be a relationship with your children, it can be a relationship with yourself. Your dreams are yours. They are personal, and they come from your vision. And people don't live their dreams because they don't have a vision. They stay overwhelmed. They're addicted to a set of feelings. They don't believe in themselves. They keep perpetuating the same situation over and over to create the same outcome. And if you have dreams, now is the time to really scale that, escalate that, next level that. Many of you have won trips with your companies and businesses, and you've got to go to exotic places or places in Europe or places in the Caribbean or the Yucatan, and you've got to experience that culture. So you've been able to walk a beach, you've been on a vacation, you've walked the beach, you've smelled the air, you feel that, and you understand that feeling, and you're experiencing that dream, the good life. In 1984, I took a cross-country trip from Kansas City, Missouri, with one of my friends, Chris Whitaker, to Fort Myers, Florida. I had never been to Florida. And later that summer, I went back and then went to Fort Myers where my friend lived. He moved there. And then I went by car down across Alligator Alley, and then I went to Key West. That was a dream. That was as close to the Caribbean as I'd ever been. I then experienced the Caribbean in 1997. I went to Aruba. I went to Jamaica. I went to Nassau in the Bahamas. And in my 20s, I also went to the French Riviera. I went to the Italian Riviera. I stayed in Nice. I stayed in Cannes. I stayed in Paris. I was in Portofino, Santa Margherita, and Florence when I was 25 years old. Those were dreams. As a speaker, I've been able to speak in 7 different continents. I was able to speak in Australia on 2 different occasions. And if you've ever seen Fiona, she's on my Facebook Lives frequently. Fiona lives in Perth, Australia, and I was able to walk the beach on the Indian Ocean in Perth, Australia. That was one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been in. It's on the extreme west coast side of Australia. So Sydney would be like Miami down there. Perth would be like Los Angeles over there. It's a 6-hour trip across the continent, or across the country of Australia. I got to speak in Australia on 2 different occasions. I spoke in London, England once. I spoke in the country of Panama twice, Mexico 3 times, Taipei, Taiwan 1 time, and other countries in between. I've spoken in practically every major city in the United States. I spoke 1,039 times in my speaking career, and I got to see so much beauty and opulence, and you too can do that as you live your dream. And that dream life that you seek to live is going to require a vehicle. Now, is that an investment? Is that an investment vehicle that you learn by day trading? Do you do that by starting a business, owning a business? Do you inherit the money? I mean, what is your vehicle? I see that Cassie is on today's Facebook Live. I've had the privilege of coaching Cassie for a number of years. Charles Anthony Jablonski, thank you for hiring me. I know that is a dream of yours, Charles. Charles just hired me to be his coach. That is awesome, and a lot of hours in my own shop. That is correct. So this is going to be your responsibility to live your dream. For those of you who do not follow Cassie Opa-Turcott, she is a high school coach, a former college athlete. She's a very talented artist. She's also a treasure hunter, and she goes to unique locations and hunts for Revolutionary War artifacts. She uses some of those artifacts in her art. If you've seen my client Kira Fairchow, and for those of you who know Kirafercho, she's a world-renowned Western artist. And if you go to her website, Kira Fairchow, she lives her dream by creating her art and selling her art. I am the proud owner of one of her paintings that I purchased 2 months ago. Susan, good to see you. Good to see all of you this afternoon. Patty Gerard, good to see you. Good to see everyone here on Michael Gershon. Good to see you, Michael. If you're taking time off to watch this, Michael, I definitely appreciate you, all of you, for being here, especially if you're on the job, in between children. It is my privilege and honor to be here, and I feel very blessed to be able to share time with you this afternoon. So Susan said, yes, her art is amazing. So being an artist is one way to live your dream. Being able to monetize your skills, being able to sell so being able to be an artist is a vision. So it's very unique. You have a vision and you're selling your vision to live a vision. Now, Kira Fairchow is a very skilled artist. She's also a very skilled real estate investor. And so she was able to take her art and then learn additional skills. I have done the same thing. I've taken my speaking, coaching, sales, branding, marketing business, and I've been able to take the money I've created from that business and purchase a sports card collection worth 7 figures, and also purchase multiple properties from being able to have that vision of being an entrepreneur business owner. So all of you can do this. It's really allowing yourself to create the habits, to create the mindset, to have the discipline, to find a vehicle that really inspires you. You know, what inspires you? And so you don't have to trade time for dollars or be in someone else's dream, a place called a job, so that you can live on your life and your terms. What is that vision? What is that outcome that you seek to create? What is the business that's going to be your vehicle that will allow you to live your dreams? Here are some of the situations that I would suggest that you consider. So you can own a traditional business. You can be a white-collar professional, an attorney, an accountant, and own your own firm or your own practice, or be a partner in a firm where you actually have equity ownership in that situation. And those type of situations can often be $250,000, $350,000, $400,000, $500,000 on up into 7-figure careers. So the white-collar professional route, an investment banker, these situations. There's also situations you can create at home. There's network marketing, direct sales, day trading, online trading. You can be a cryptocurrency expert. You can be a brander, an influencer. You can have a YouTube channel. You can be paid for modeling other people's clothing. I have a client who routinely achieves $5,000 to $10,000 on certain months for showcasing certain brands. Matt Smith is on our Facebook Live this afternoon. You can be an owner-operator in the trucking business. You can have a trucking line. But one of the situations you want to look at is overhead. And what is the cost factor to start a business? Well, you want to be able to, ideally, you want to start a business without borrowing any money from the comfort of your home. Andrea Samantha is on today's Facebook Live. Andrea crushes network marketing and direct sales. Susan Dampier is a network marketing superstar. Tracy Calvert is also a network marketing superstar. There are a few women on today's Facebook Live who are creating 4- and 5-figure income results from the comfort of their home with very low overhead. And also in those companies, you tend to win trips and vacations and exotic locales and dreams. and then you build a culture and a team, but it also requires a lot of effort. Any venture is going to require more than 40 hours a week. It's going to require discipline, dedication. It's going to require repetition, experience, and being willing to pay the price of success rather than continue to pay the pain of regret. And it's going to require you to be and stay in a state of flow, a state of production, a state of recovery, a state of sobriety, and mostly raise your consciousness. So Andrea just said it's the dream I didn't know I had. Well, congratulations, Andrea. Andrea is a rock star woman, a mompreneur, was originally a single mompreneur when I started coaching her, who went from beauty operator to multiple 5-figure income earner. And once again, she did it with 2 kids, started out on part-time, and it is possible. Any of you can do this. Unfortunately, very few people cross the bridge because they let their ego, their lower self, get in the way of their higher self where their dreams are. So the communication must change. The communication that goes, yeah, but my situation's unique. You don't understand. I have fibromyalgia. I have this and I have that. And I have headaches and I have this. And I have a narcissistic ex-husband. Or I have this and all of that. So you want to have a good understanding of how you talk yourself out of it. And it's not just you. You're not the minority. You're not a freak. This is most of the world does that. And you want to be able to change that conditioned behavior. Susan just posted no excuses. Now, for those of you men and women on today's Facebook Live who live that excuse-free life, it came with a price. I know that it didn't happen overnight. I was not an overnight success. I became clean and sober at 31. I aspired to be a millionaire by the time I was 40. I gave myself 9 years, and it happened right at 40. It can happen to you. So Cassie says, I don't want to be like the rest of the world. You don't have to. Susan says, decide, commit, and go. That is correct. And if you will allow yourself to do that, it comes down to this. What I do daily. I originally wanted to own a restaurant. I grew up in the restaurant industry. I started bussing tables and washing dishes at 13 years old. I started waiting tables at 18 years old, bartending at 19 years old. I then went from hash house restaurants and diners and joints to a 3-star restaurant, a 4-star restaurant, and eventually 5-star dining by the time I was 22 years old. I worked for legendary restaurateur Victor Fontana, who was also part of multiple St. Louis families. And I worked with some top-tier restaurateurs. Right there on my wall is Michael Garozzo, a Kansas City restaurant legend. I worked in 2 different restaurants with him. He went on to own 5 restaurants. Eric Sweeney, who owns one of the top barbecue restaurants in Kansas City, Hayward's Barbecue. Eric and I worked together in 2 different restaurants or so. So I grew up in the restaurant industry, and I had a vision of owning an Italian-French restaurant, either one of those 2. And I had a name for it, the colors, but the overhead of that, the risk to reward factor, the probability of going bankrupt, the probability of not making it, too many moving parts. I settled into network marketing, direct sales as the first business that I started that I began to monetize in 1988. My first 3 years in business, I made nothing because I was in the recovery of drug, alcohol, and my main focus was being and staying sober, but as I was also romancing and dabbling with being a business owner in free enterprise in sobriety. I had been a business owner as an addict, but that's not the type of businesses, and that I had changed my priorities. And to be able to live your dreams, you're going to require a vehicle, you're going to require the discipline, and then if you're in a leveraged business and you're recruiting people to that business, it's important that you also understand as you're living your dream, as you're learning how to live your dream, you're able to sell that dream to others, meaning that you're able to paint the picture to people. You don't have to be a millionaire to be able to show people how they can become a millionaire. But what many people do is they say, I haven't, so I can't. I haven't, so I can't. I haven't become a millionaire, so I can't introduce you to someone who already is. Or I'm not a millionaire, so I can't allow you to meet others. So this is what many people do, is they talk themselves out of the situation. And this is the time, as we're in the most challenging, head-swiveling time in the world, that you be your best self. I mean, I'm down the rabbit hole. I know exactly what's going on. I study it. I live it. I breathe it 30 years. I'm aware of what's behind that curtain and behind that veil. But there's also these two words called free enterprise. And as long as we can take a breath, as long as we can create income from the comfort of our home, you can be it, you can accomplish it. And that's what free enterprise is. Create and attract what the free market will bear. And if you can do that from the comfort of your home without renting space or taking on overhead, and then you can create organic traffic without building sales funnels or hiring other people outside of you to service your account, then you have the probability of living your dream. I suggest you find ways to live that dream with as low overhead as possible. And then if you do want a more traditional route, then you really understand what that means and what you're willing to do to live your dream. One of the greatest pains that you will experience is the pain of regret if you don't live your dream. You'll look back and be 50 or 60 and go, God, I wished I would have. If only I could have. If I would have bought that piece of property. If I would have bought that little restaurant. If I would have Airbnb'd that property. I wished I would have paid the price back then. And when you have mentors around you and people that have been there and done that, you want to be able to look at them and say, they can do it, I can do it. And they absolutely can. In my Herbalife career, and that was my first real company, in 1991, I started listening to Jim Rohn, the owner Mark Hughes, and I actually had a mentor who became a millionaire. And she was having $100,000 months, and I was in her team. And I'm like, wow, I can do this. I can be that person. And in my early career, I had the opportunity to be in many people's who were very, very successful. I was in Jeff Olson's team in a company called TPN. Eric Worre was in that business, and Darren Hardy was the number one income earner in that business in 1994. I was in a company called Nutrition for Life with the great Tom Big Al Schreider. I not only read his books, Tom invited me to one of his workshops in Los Angeles, California, grandfathered a ticket for me. I later hired Tom to speak at events for me. That's Tom Big Al Schreider. I met him early in my career. I met some exceptional people on that journey. Some of you may have remembered Kevin Trudeau. Kevin Trudeau was in Nutrition for Life when I was in that company, and he was doing the infomercial, Sharks Don't Get Cancer. I met some exceptional human beings while making no money. And my biggest year was I had right at $100,000 year. It was actually a 12-month period between 1992 and 1993. I never really crossed over into the money-making phase of that business until I was 7 years into it. I stayed in business long enough to learn the life skills, and then in my 7th, 8th, 9th year is when I started to reap the harvest, the law of the harvest. Bought my first piece of property, bought a Mercedes, and started to really see that I can really live my dreams like this. Paid my home off, sold that home, bought the home I'm in today, bought several real estate properties over the last 24 years. And so living the dream starts right here where I am. This is my office, and that's my office chair, and my ass is in this chair, AIC, multiple hours a day. And many people go, oh my God, all you do is work. That's not what I do. I produce results from the comfort of my home. I service my clients. I deliver the value. I deliver the services, the customer service. I have an employee that assists me with that. And that is living the dream. I own a California corporation. I pay quarterly taxes. In 4 days, it's payroll time. I'll be paying payroll to myself and 2 employees, and payroll tax that goes with it. And that's also the end of the third quarter. Then that's a whole other series of paperwork. So, this is what a business owner does. It's not glamorous. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It is a profession. It requires effort. It requires diligence. It requires discipline. And it's not painful unless you create the pain. Ryan, good to see you this afternoon. Andrea, thank you very much for that exceptional client. or that exceptional compliment. Tom Gilbert, good to see you. If you're on today's Facebook Live, hit the like button. Oh, Josh Shea, good to see you this afternoon. Hit the like button. That will keep you in my news feed and keep you of my notifications. That will assist you with that. And if you are new to today's Facebook Live, reach out to me for a free 20-minute coaching session if you have not received advantage of that. If you know someone in your team or your circle of influence that you would like to refer me, send me their profile in Facebook Messenger and I will contact them. Kudos to Josh Waxman. Josh has been my client. This is a great story. Josh has been my client since 2015. For those of you who don't know Josh Waxman, he's an exceptional young man, 26 years old. He hired me to be his client, or he hired me to be his coach in 2015. As a matter of fact, him and another young man named Francis Mangubat, Mangubat. Francis and he hired me at an event at the University of Delaware. I wasn't on the campus, but I was right across the street from the football field in a Hilton hotel. I did an event for 122 people. Josh hired me, and Francis Mangubat hired me. Well, if you look Francis up, he's having a 7-figure year as a Keller Williams real estate agent. 7-figure year, that's like this, 7-figure year. He is 28. He hired me when he was however old he was. That was when he was 20. He's 28 right now. Josh hired me when he was 18. Josh just referred me a client that hired me for a 20-hour coaching package yesterday like this, a dentist from Colorado that Josh met at Valuetainment. That is Patrick Bet David's conference. Little known secret, many people do not know this. For those of you who do know who Patrick Bet David is, if you look him up on Instagram, Patrick is the type of guy that has 126, he'll have like 126,000 people liking his post. That is Patrick Bet David. That is a 3-part name. He is an Iranian immigrant who moved to the United States when he was a young man and actually lived the dream. He owns an insurance company with hundreds of millions of dollars. Started that company 13 years ago, a multiple 7-figure income earner, living the good life, an immigrant coming to our country and started an insurance company. And I was his very first mindset coach and keynote speaker back in 2008. Little known secret, Patrick Bet David, who owns Valuetainment, the brand Valuetainment, I was his very first keynote speaker, and one of the men in that very first audience is still my client, a 7-figure income earner, Jonathan Mason, who is frequently on this Facebook Live. So that can be you, that can unequivocally be you, a difference creator. You can unequivocally be that man, be that woman who learns the skills, habits, and mindset and can influence others. You unequivocally can do that. What you do right now is you influence you. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Once again, if you haven't received a free 20-minute coaching session, you'd like to receive that, feel free to go up and send me a message in Facebook. If you'd like to re-engage me as your coach, feel free to send me a message. I have a value package, a 24-hour coaching package. It's a 1-year coaching package if you'd like to connect with me. Kelly Jones Bartoletti. For those of you who don't know Kelly, Kelly was my client many years ago. I met her in 2012, Kelly, 10 years ago, baby, and I have had dinner with Kelly multiple times in Long Island. Remember that, Kelly? And Kelly was responsible for bringing me to Long Island, New York, 9 years ago, my first speaking engagement in Long Island because of you, Kelly. So thank you very much. Gratitude, and so honored to have been your coach. Say hello to your daughter, who is a Marine. Her daughter was a Marine, and your awesome husband. Have a great afternoon, everyone.